very good evening to you, our viewers. This is the Camnet main news. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. The top stories on our desk this evening: United Party for National Development Alliance partner Movement for Democratic Change against putting newly recruited civil servants under NAPSA. Census aptitude test spill into day 2. Drug Enforcement Commission and Transparency International Zambia join arms to fight corruption. In international news, US says top ENVOY'S Africa trip not meant to catch up with rivals. And in sports news, Zambia's results at the 2022 Commonwealth Games disappoints Zambia Judo Association.
For immediate coverage of any breaking news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Television, not just another channel.
Thank you for joining us. The news in detail. The health of pupils at Kavulamanja Basic School in Luangwa District is at risk as they are depending on water from a contaminated well after the school's solar water pump got damaged. Speaking to Camnet News, school head teacher Judith Mwela has therefore stated that there is urgent need to setting up a water system that will ensure the safety of the pupils. She adds that most of the whole community around that area also depends on the same well for water, hence the need for quick action.
According to Sustainable Development Goal number 6, that focuses on achieving universal access to safe and affordable drinking water for all by 2030, no human being should be subjected to the use of unclean water. But this is not the case for Kavulamanja Basic School, located in a game management area in Luangwa district of Lusaka province, where the school has been subjected to drinking contaminated water since the school's solar water pump got damaged. In an interview with Camnet News, the school's head teacher, Judith Mwela Meleshi, is calling on government to prioritize constructing a water system in the area.
The whole community of Kavulamanja, apart from the one that is under Chief Kadembele village, the one that has got its own pump. But for the whole Tinkalo village, Kavulamanja village where we are in, and then for the teachers' compound, we depend on this well. And this well has got water which is contaminated. It was some samples were taken to cancer, and then it was tested. It is condemned. Human beings cannot drink from this way. But we have no option because that we were depending on a 5,000 liters tank that we were depending on, which was solar paneled. It is damaged. And then we have no option. We just have to opt for this well. That's where we are getting our water from. So we are appealing to the government if it can look into our plea and help us with our water system.
Meanwhile, UPND Secretary General Imenda Batuke, who paid a visit to the school, has assured the people of Kavulamanja that the new Dawn administration is committed to bettering the lives of all people in Zambia.
In this message, because as the report is categorically clear, this message will be taken to the rightful ministry, because the report is telling us that this condemned water will soon create problems for our people. Zambia.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News.
Third Liberation Movement Party President Enoch Tonga has called for the formulation of a law which will safeguard public servants beyond the tenure of political parties in office. In an interview, Mr. Tonga says a mutual separation between the Electoral Commission of Zambia and the current Chief Electoral Officer at the Commission makes such reading as it is a clear indicator that some individuals feel uncomfortable after the change of government. He notes that protecting such positions under the Constitution will also ensure the independence of these institutions. Details in this report.
A number of public office holders in key institutions in the country have left office since the change of government from the Patriotic Front to the United Party for National Development (UPND) in August 2021. Latest is the announcement that Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Patrick Nshindano will part ways with the Commission on a mutual agreement effective 7th August 2022. This has not sat well with some stakeholders, among them the Third Liberation Movement Party, who have called for a law which will protect bearers of such offices to ensure that they outlive various administrations. Party President Enoch Tonga was speaking to Camnet News.
That means that these people who are working as public office bearers must be protected. How? We can use the law. They must be under the law so that when Mr. Tonga becomes the president, he finds it difficult to fire them. That way we shall secure their jobs. In addition, it is possible also to allow them rising through the ranks within the institution. That will help a lot. But my concern is this, that whenever government changes, we are changing public office bearers. That is not correct, because these individuals are Zambians and they need to be protected so that they can enjoy their public jobs.
Meanwhile, in a phone interview, National Democratic Congress NDC faction President Savoy Imboela has also commented on the separation of Mr. Nshindano and ECZ.
So it's very, very worrisome, because now the kind of person that they're going to bring, trust me, if we are not careful, it's going to really, really compromise our democracy, because we need a person of integrity, like I said earlier on. And so if they're going to bring a stooge, a person without a backbone who will just be a yes, bwana, then ECZ is going to be destroyed.
ECZ announced the mutual separation of Mr. Nshindano in a press statement on Wednesday, with the contracts of ECZ chairperson Justice Esau Chulu and his vice Emily Sikazwe having not been renewed in June 2022. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Movement for Democratic Change has proposed that the newly recruited civil servants in the education and health sectors be placed under the Public Service Pensions Fund and not the National Pension Scheme Authority, NAPSA. MDC Vice President Leonard Hikaumba notes that NAPSA does not pay a lump sum to workers upon retirement, which to some extent has disadvantaged them. Mr. Hikaumba is hopeful that the United Party for National Development, to which the MDC is in an alliance with, is a government that is responsive to the needs of the people, as evidenced from the recruitment of over 40,000 civil servants in the first year of driving the wheels of this country. Patrick Sonko filed this report.
Issues have been a matter of concern in Zambia, and Republican President Hakainde Hichilema is on record championing reforms on the National Pension Scheme Authority (NAPSA) Act so that workers can benefit more from their hard-earned money. This year, over 30,000 teachers and 11,000 health personnel will be added to the pension schemes, and the Movement for Democratic Change, which is part of the UPND Alliance, has proposed that the new government workers must be placed under the Public Service Pension Fund and not the National Pension Scheme Authority. MDC Vice President Leonard Hikaumba says this is because, unlike PSPF, NAPSA does not pay a lump sum to workers upon retirement, adding that this will bring competition on how to better administer the workers' money.
NAPSA is under pressure to see how they can answer to the demands by the president that workers should be able to access their benefits. Under NAPSA, as we may all know, there are no lump sum payments for those who qualify for pension. They get what is called income replacement ratio. then there is no lump sum payment. So to access anything under such an arrangement is not easy. So really, that is our appeal. And maybe even the other serving civil servants, the government and NAPSA should arrange so that they may go back to the Public Service Pensions Fund to give it more life, and so that NAPSA can have a competitor.
Mr. Ikaumba, who is also the former Zambia Congress of Trade Unions president, also shared his views on retirement age during a press conference in Lusaka Thursday.
But there should be a provision that an employee should be able to retire any time after attainment of the age of 55. If one wants to retire at, say, 56, they should have that liberty to retire at that age. If one wants to retire at 57, it should be possible for someone. But currently, the law is such that if one missed to retire at 55, they have to wait for 60 years.
He adds that the rule of law has been restored in the country, as evidenced in the handling of election petitions by the courts. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Teachers with disabilities who were left out in the just-ended recruitment exercise have issued a letter to the Ministry of Education demanding an explanation for what they term as an anomaly. Speaking to Camnet News, Stanley Musomali says it is observed that government recruited more teachers who trained as special education teachers and not disabled as such at the expense of disabled trained teachers. He laments that from the said 196 teachers with disabilities recruited, 156 are able-bodied teachers who are trained in special education, and only 40 of the trained teachers with disabilities have been recruited. Meanwhile, a goodwill ambassador for persons with disability, Elijah Ngwale, has asked able teachers to refrain from applying in the slot for disabled teachers, adding that doing so puts teachers with disabilities at a disadvantaged position.
Calls to recruit more teachers in order to improve the quality of education and meet the teacher PP ratio in the country has been loud in the recent years. And to meet this challenge, the United Party for National Development, UPND, in that 2020 national budget, have set a target to recruit about 30,000 teachers from across the country in order to promote and improve the quality of education in the country. While this cheered many stakeholders, the development has not come without challenges, as most teachers who have been left out in the recruitment exercise are voiced out, calling on government to recruit them based on various reasons. And persons with disabilities have also not been spared from some of these challenges, as some trained teachers with disabilities who feel cheated by the outcome of a just-ended recruitment exercise have, through their representative Thursday afternoon, filed in a letter to the Ministry of Education demanding an explanation to what they term as an anomaly that more teachers without any disability, but rather just trained in special education, have been recruited at the expense of trained teachers with disabilities. This comes as a concern from Stanley Musomali, who says word has it that 196 trained teachers with disabilities have been recruited, when in fact only 40 from the said number are teachers with disability, and that 156 are able persons only trained in special education.
Because if we say that the 10% of teacher recruitment with disability, that was supposed to be our slot, which was supposed to be 3,000, and then if you calculate the people who applied, they were not even more than 3,000. They were just less, they were just 200 to 300, of which all the people with disability were supposed to be recruited. Now, the only 40 with people with disability who were trained as teachers were recruited. You see? So we want that slot of all of us that we are left out to be recruited.
He says before the recruitment process commenced, it was communicated that 10% from the 30,000 teachers was supposed to cater for trained teachers with disabilities, saying that even the 10% was too big, as only 256 teachers with disabilities applied countrywide, with only 40 recruited and 216 left out.
They recruited 196, of which 156 were the teachers who trained in special education. Only 40 were teachers who were disabled.
Meanwhile, the Goodwill Ambassador for Persons with Disabilities, Elijah Ngwale, has called on the able-bodied teachers to refrain from applying in their slots for teachers with disabilities, describing it as very diabolical in nature as it aims on putting trained teachers with disabilities at a disadvantage.
I think 2 or 3 were non-disabled, but that they trained in special education. So now your figure, you should be doing it 256 vis-a-vis 40, or 40 vis-a-vis 256. That 3,000 is hyperbolical and hypothetical. Taken to be recruited within 2-3 weeks. They should be recruited, and 2, we want all of them to be given some assistive devices, and 3, we want a meeting.
Mercy Chanika reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
The Zambia Statistics Agency, ZAMBIA'S, says it will ensure that all those attempting to write the aptitude test for the short-term census jobs are cleared by the end of Thursday, 4th August 2022. In an interview with Camnet News, ZAMBIA'S interim statistician, General Mulenga Musepa, says despite the overwhelming response from unemployed youths seeking short-term jobs, he is confident that the measures the agency has put in place will allow for more people to undertake the test. And a check by Camnet News at Hero Stadium found that thousands of people still waiting to undertake the test, with the hope of being among those to take up the 3,000 positions allocated in Lusaka province. Prudence Chota followed the story once again and brought us this report.
Selected among those to take up the 3,000 part-time jobs for the 2022 Census of Housing and Population for Lusaka District has entered day 2, with thousands seen at the Hero Stadium patiently waiting to undertake the aptitude tests. Zambia Statistical Agency interim statistician General Mulenga Musepa told this reporter that the agency did not expect that the undertaking of the aptitude test would enter the second day, but says he is confident that everyone will undertake the assessment by end of today, Thursday, 4th August 2022.
We've cleared quite a lot since morning. If we had worked like that yesterday, it could have been quite some productive day. Yeah, okay. We did a bit of some productive work towards the end of the day yesterday, but then we had to stop because of, it was getting late, and we had to bring it to this morning early. It is my expectation and hope and prayer that we should be able to conclude by 17:30, because eventually we have to close the gates.
Well, the turnout has been overwhelming for the agency. Mr. Mulenga says they have put up mechanisms that will ensure that all those attempting to write the test are given an opportunity without leaving anyone behind, and says the marking of the test is being done automatically and only those who score high will be selected.
In terms of improvement, I think one of the things is that it's more of just the numbers. The numbers are just overwhelming. Lusaka, like I mentioned, their time, it was more than 24,000. So every system you find it is stressed, and even the time that we're doing the applications, the mobile service networks were strained, okay, because it was like a shock. So this is what it is. In other provinces, it has not been like this.
And a Lusaka resident who was among those attempting to write the test has advised the government to learn from the past mistakes to ensure that such mistakes are not repeated.
So I urge the ZAMBIA'S and government in future to avoid these things. Today we've got internet. A lot of organizations invite people to write aptitude tests online. Why them not doing the same thing? Why people where there is no network, they come and do the physical exams, and then those that can manage to do, they do that the things online.
Zambia is a youthful country with majority of the youths being unemployed. Creating employment opportunities for the many unemployed youths therefore requires a concerted effort of all stakeholders, including the private sector. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The National Union for Public and Private Educators of Zambia, UPND, has condemned the manner in which Petauke District Commissioner Martha Molenga humiliated a teacher who applied for the short-term census jobs. In an interview with Camnet News, UPND's General Secretary Nelson Mwale says the district commissioner should have handled the matter administratively and not bring it to the media. And Mr. Mwale has since appealed to teachers and other civil servants to avoid applying for the census jobs in line with the directive from government.
Wednesday, 3rd August 2022 did not go well for a teacher of Petauke district who attempted to be among those seeking to be recruited for the part-time census jobs. The named teacher was spotted by community members who later reported him to the district commissioner Martha Molenga for attempting to take over the jobs meant for the unemployed.
I came in here and I said, you didn't stand up, not until. Mind you, don't argue with me. Don't argue with me. Which school do you come from?
The National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, UPND's General Secretary Nelson Mwale, however, says he is disappointed at the manner in which the district commissioner humiliated the teacher and says the commissioner could have found a better way of reprimanding him without going to the media.
There was actually confrontation between the district commissioner and our teacher, Mr. Mkandawire in Petauke. I think whatever happened did not augur well, did not need the camera for the problem to be sorted out. And so we are calling upon our officials, whenever they are dealing with our members, please, can there be decency? Because at the end of the day, we've got our members to protect and we've got our senior officials to be protected also. And so we want things to be sorted out amicably without a camera closer to, because certain things can be sorted out administratively actually without a camera anywhere near.
Mr. Mwale has since advised teachers and other civil servants who may be tempted to apply for the part-time jobs to avoid doing so, but instead leave the opportunity to many young people who have no jobs.
I also want to take this opportunity to urge our members, of course our teachers and the rest of the civil servants that are already in formal employment, to stay away from the census exercise, because it's one of the ways in which the new Dawn government wants to take care of our youth, so that our youths that are out there in the street find something to do in order to earn their own living. You realize that even in the teacher recruitment, not everybody was absorbed, and so we are saying, can our people stay away from that?
Zambia's unemployment levels have remained high, coupled with high cost of living can be a compelling factor for some to attempt to seek other sources of income. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Transparency International Zambia and the Drug Enforcement Commission Thursday signed a memorandum of understanding to work jointly to fight corruption and money laundering in Zambia. The two organizations whose collective resolve is to rid Zambia of the ills of corruption, drug abuse and maladministration, among other vices, says they are cognizant of the need to work collaboratively in order to leverage on the collective strengths and abilities in the quest to contribute to the betterment of Zambia. TIZ, through its People Engagement and Advocacy Program, are working at fostering attitudinal and behavioral change among people, while DSC is anchored on 6 values that guided its operations, among them integrity and accountability. The MOU is set to provide a robust whistleblowing mechanism in the institutions, which is envisaged to encourage timely and swift receipt of information that forms the basis for investigation of illicit drug activities, money laundering, abuse of public resources, and related vices. The MOU was signed by TIZ Executive Director Maurice Nyambe and Drug Enforcement Commission Deputy Director Ronet Chanda.
Delighted to be signing this MOU today with the DEC, which we consider to be another critical player in our quest to fight corruption and to promote good governance in Zambia. Now, through our People's Engagement and Advocacy Program, which Achilando has spoken about, we are working at fostering attitudinal and behavioral change among people through empowering them to be aware of and to claim their rights, as well as to hold their leaders and service providers accountable in order for them to act in ethical ways. Now, we are aware that the DEC, through its Integrity Committee, aims at spearheading and facilitating the process of preventing corruption internally through best.
Also wish to note that the DEC is anchored on 6 values. that guide its operations, and these include integrity, teamwork, innovativeness, confidentiality, impartiality, and accountability. It is evident that the DEC and TIZ share common ground in the two values of integrity and accountability. This provides a good launchpad for our concerted efforts. Therefore, the MOU being signed today is a significant statement that our two institutions are firmly resolved to unite in the fight against corruption and related vices that tend to negatively affect good governance. The MOU will provide a framework within which joint sensitization activities will be conducted among the general public across the nation of Zambia. These activities are aimed at raising awareness levels and a sense of responsibility in our citizenry to take keen interest in the affairs of public service delivery. Further, the MOU will provide a robust whistleblowing mechanism.
Kawata Constituency Member of Parliament Andrew Tayengwa has donated assorted items to Kawata Clinic on Thursday. The items, which include disinfectants, will be used to clean the wards and other sanitary rooms. The lawmaker notes that a clean environment helps to prevent further spread of diseases. Meanwhile, Mr. Tayengwa has revealed that another institution has expressed willingness to donate some medicines which will be distributed to all health facilities in the constituency.
Kawata lawmaker Andrew Tayengwa has this week been very busy engaging constituency members on matters that affect them, genuinely appreciate the challenges and seeing to it that those that can be solved without the central government are dealt with. Wednesday, Mr. Tayengwa visited Kawata Clinic where he donated some disinfectants with hope that this will help maintain a clean zone for the patients. While the facility looks tidy, the shortage of medicine is evident as some of the patrons at the clinic revealed that they were only given prescriptions after being attended to. Mr. Tayengwa has however assured them that government is on course in making sure that health centers are fully stocked with essential drugs, adding that some stakeholders will soon donate some medical supplies which will supplement government's stance of providing universal health coverage.
Yesterday I was actually at Chilenge First Level Hospital, and the things that I found at Chilenge cannot compare Chilenge with here. At least here we've discovered that even the ablution blocks, the toilets themselves, they're clean. The environment itself, it's welcoming and it's very clean. I think even the workers here at Kawata Clinic, they know what they are doing. I actually came here to give a donation, some cleaning chemicals that we actually got from BB Enterprise, and these cleaning chemicals, I hope they will go a long way so that they can use them to clean, continue cleaning the environment here at Kawata Clinic.
Meanwhile, Kawata Clinic in charge hopes that the Member of Parliament will lobby for the things needed at the health facility.
We are very grateful for the gesture they have given to us. They have brought materials at least to help us to take us a long way. We have been struggling with the materials, and once we have materials, at least even the facility will look clean, will not have struggles in terms of what to use at the end of the day. So thank you very much to my team and to the team which has visited us. At least for us to be where we are today, it's because of teamwork. Thank you very much.
Messi Chanika reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
The Biomedical Union of Zambia President Daniel Mwembe has called for the formulation of a policy that will tie doctors and other health workers operating from rural areas not to relocate until they serve for at least 5 years in their respective deployment areas. In an interview, Mr. Mwembe explains that the trend has been that some doctors in rural areas have been neglecting work stations to work in urban areas while drawing salaries from their respective workplaces. He notes that the recruitment of 11,276 health workers calls for measures to prevent this failure, to which rural areas will continue being left behind.
We don't want again to continue seeing receiving complaints where people can't access these services because there are no health workers in those areas, even when government has increased on the numbers of these health workers. So there should be some policy to tie them to stay there and give the service to the people. If we are going to talk about quality health care closer to the people of Zambia, then we are talking about every area, especially these vulnerable communities, we call them vulnerable, rural and remote communities, where somebody will go there and just a minute away, they will find a way going back to Lusaka or going back to the Copper Belt. Can government come up with a deliberate policy to tie them in these areas so that they can give this service? And if we are going to say health for all, then we need to ensure that these rural communities are not left out. We need to ensure that manpower is available and also commodities are available. All these essential things that they need for them to receive health care services. We need to make sure that they are available. And that's why we are hoping that government is going to come up with a strategy to ensure that these people are kept in these areas where they are going.
You're watching Camnet News. Just now we take our first set of commercials. When we return, we have more interesting stories. Stay with us.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
For immediate coverage of any breaking news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying on. The Lunda Culture Association of Zambia President Anthony Samuhunda says Culture Association plays an important role in uniting the country beyond tribal divides. Mr. Samuhandu has therefore called on these associations to unite and work for the common goal of uniting the country and preserving culture if it is to actualize the call for President Hakainde Hichilema for the country to unite beyond tribal differences.
Zambia is endowed with over 70 tribes, each with its unique culture and dialect, and this has been one of the factors attracting tourists to the country. The diversity of ethnic groups has, however, often been used as a weapon by politicians who have been hoping to get support based on tribal lines. The Lunda Culture Association of Zambia, Lucas, has therefore reminded cultural associations of the important role that they play in cementing calls for unity in the country by the head of state. Lucas President Anthony Samahundu was speaking during the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding MOU between the association and the Nsakwa Yabakaonde Culture Association.
National unity has to start from the smallest unity, such as family, tribe, district, province, through to national level. We are so delighted to support this call of national unity as Northwestern Province.
Meanwhile, Lucas chairperson Jonathan Tambatamba says the uniting of culture associations will help coming generations to respect each other's culture and preserve tradition.
The constitution of the Nsakwa Yabakaonde Cultural Association states the objective of the association as, and I quote, to contribute to the development, promotion and maintenance of the cultural, historic and artistic heritage of the Kaonde-speaking people. As an association, we prioritize cultural development alongside social and economic development because cultural development is fundamental to a people's way of life, being the source of our strength, unity and social harmony as Kaonde, as people of Northwestern Province, and as people of Zambia at large.
In adding his voice, Lucas Steering Committee Chairperson Webika Mangala states that this is the first of many unions to come, as this is one way that tribal divides can be bridged.
Both cultural associations will remain independent and shall enjoy autonomy as per their established constitutions. So I wanted just to make this clear. It's not that we are coming to come together and then kill all the cultural associations so that we operate under this umbrella now. We shall all maintain our individual autonomy as cultural associations from Northwestern. But this is just a platform that will bring us together to discuss and share common interests that affects us as a province.
Stakeholders have been emphasizing the need for the country's One Zambia, One Nation slogan to be upheld as one way of ending tribal divides. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Some men in Lusaka have attributed the increase to gender-based violence, especially in urban areas, to high levels of alcohol abuse by both men and women. They say alcohol disturbs one's capability to think responsibly, hence leading into violence. Meanwhile, Families and Nations Country Director Judith Mwila has attributed the increase in gender-based violence to failure to effectively communicate and resolve differences.
Gender-based violence, GBV, has continued to plague most communities around the world, and according to the GBV report issued by Zambia Police, Zambia has recorded 7,589 cases of GBV in the first quarter countrywide, representing a 23.44% increase in cases as compared to last year during the same period, where 6,148 cases were registered during that period. Among the overall number of cases, 1,910 involved children victims, and that 4,589 cases, representing 60.4%, affected women, 1,095 GB cases, indicating 14.4%, involved male victims, with Lusaka recording the highest cases. Camnet TV caught up with some men in Lusaka who tell this reporter that alcohol abuse is the #1 factor to the increase of cases of gender-based violence in the country.
Look around also, men are just drinking beer in also certain places. You find as early as in the morning, you find that a man is somewhere drinking instead of helping the woman with the things of the home. So men also have brought this issue because the women cannot keep silent as well to see their husband is supposed to take care of them, to source for something which can help them at home. Early in the morning as 06, 07, 08, he's on the bar. So women now trying to push this man, we are having women now going after the men.
And Richie Banda, a Lusaka resident, begs to differ from the common belief that men are the instigators of violence in homes. He says men were not born monsters but have been created by the women they are with.
Very difficult to place a blame on one particular gender. And most of the times you find that the men are the ones that are accused as perpetrators of this gender-based violence. But I would like to take a different view, that no man was born a monster. Sometimes we will have to do a background check on how these once good men suddenly became monsters. I think that the women also should try and reconsider what are those factors that cause men to do things like that, and try to avoid them. In trying to do so, we'll be able to create a society where gender-based violence is going to be reduced. And I'm saying so.
Meanwhile, Family is a Nation's country director, Judith Mwila, says there is need to strengthen conflict resolutions in families and amongst couples.
Failure to resolve conflict amongst the involved parties. All the time when a couple or a family or friends, they have a conflict, the most important thing is to have a solution or to resolve that conflict so that people can go back and turn the page. Whether they agree to differ or they agree to disagree, at every point there has to be what is the status, rather than people deciding to use physical interventions where somebody is harmed, people lose their lives, families are broken. I feel that there is very little capacity in most people to resolve a conflict amicably and conclusively.
Cherish Siwote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Flyboard Sales and Assistant Manager Stanley Chisenga has underscored the need to continue exploring ways of making farming easier through innovation and technology. Mr. Chisenga observes that Zambia can only improve productivity in the agriculture sector by mechanizing various ways of adding value to the agricultural produce. He has cited the mechanized maize pillar as an important tool towards improving productivity levels among the farmers. Mr. Chisenga was speaking to Camnet TV during the just-ended Agriculture and Commercial Show under the theme Innovation Through Technology, Technology Transforms Business. Patrick Soko filed this report.
The just-ended 94th Agriculture and Commercial Show, marked under the theme Innovation Through Technology, Technology Transforms Businesses. Zambians were treated to entertainment and exhibitions in various sectors. Zambia's Agriculture and Commercial Show is the country's main exhibition, which could not be held in the past 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And this year's event was a hive of activities, especially business linkages. As usual, a number of foreign and local exhibitors were in attendance, and a number of companies showcased their innovations and how technology helps to make life easy for the people. Zambia being a farming nation, agriculture plays a vital role towards revenue generation, national and household food security. Maize being the country's staple food, while in rural communities it is too involving to peel maize, as most people use hands, which is both labor intensive and time consuming. During the show, Flyboard demonstrated that things can be done better using a mechanized maize peeler.
It's very fast than using a manja. Yeah, you can share up to 40 bags per hour. And using a manja, you can't make 40 bags in an hour time. So this is the advantage for this one. So even if you finish to share your own maize, you can hire also to other people so that you make money using the same machine.
In the Zambian market, this machine fetches between 15 and 17,000 kwacha.
Once you buy a diesel full tank for this diesel engine, you can wake up to 2 to 3 weeks. Just only the full tank of this engine.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Policy Monitoring and Research Center says it is committed to hosting media training workshops aimed at equipping and empowering media with necessary skills that contribute towards accurate understanding and reporting on prevailing policy issues. Speaking during the official opening of the Zambia National Education Coalition ZANIC and PMRC Media Training Workshop Thursday in Lusaka, PMRC Acting Executive Director Sydney Mwamba notes that the media workshops are one of the key strategies in the attainment of public understanding through research and education. And ZANIC Board Secretary Robert Shula adds that the role of the media in society cannot go unnoticed, hence the need to promote credible reportage. Meanwhile, media consultant Chiramba Kanyama has challenged journalists to attain human interest to the Vision 2030 actualization.
Unless, and I want to emphasize, unless the journalist brings this vision into a reality, into a picture, into something that is real, into the world we live in today. People always think Vision 2030. Number one is that it's too far off in the future. And number two, the people still feel it's not real. It's just a political gimmick. It's not something that affects us. It's something that is intangible. Unless you bring the story,
for us to become solutions journalists, when we become, solutions journalists, will be in a much better state to support Zambia's quest to reach the Vision 2030.
You're watching Camnet News. We take our second set of commercials. When we return, we have sports and international news. Stay with us.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RainGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
For immediate coverage of any breaking news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Thank you for staying on. In international news, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations headed to Africa on Wednesday says she was going to focus on how the United States can help Uganda, Ghana and Cape Verde deal with food crisis, and that has hit the continent particularly hard not to compete with China and Russia. Linda Thomas Greenfield says the long-planned trip is not part of the global competition with either America's rivals, but it is part of a series of high-level U.S. engagements that aim to affirm and strengthen partnerships and relationships with African leaders and people. Here is a roundup of international news.
The Democratic Republic of Congo on Wednesday kicked out the spokesperson of the UN peacekeeping mission, signaling a further collapse in relations sparked by demonstrations against the foreign troops. Matthias Gilman has been the face of the mission as it battles against protests by locals who accuse it of failing to stop attacks by armed groups. The Congolese authorities accuse Gilman of making, quote, inappropriate remarks, according to a letter Foreign Affairs Minister Christophe Lutundula wrote to MONUSCO. The mission on Thursday said it regretted the decision to expel its spokesman. Speaking to a French broadcaster last week, Gilman said MONUSCO lacks the means to confront the M23 rebels who have occupied several areas near Goma for months. Kinshasa asserts that the rebels are backed by Rwanda. The comments appear to have enraged officials in Kinshasa, who have increasingly questioned the utility of peacekeeping forces. Since July 25th, angry demonstrators have ransacked and looted MONUSCO facilities in 4 eastern towns. 4 peacekeepers and 32 protesters have been killed in the violence.
Talks on bringing home 49 Ivorian soldiers detained in Mali are ongoing, but any result could take time, a spokesman for Ivory Coast government said Wednesday. Defense Minister Tene Brahima Ouattara met with the relatives of the soldiers, telling them they had been deployed as part of a mission that complied with the rules. We will do everything to avoid extremes. To engage unnecessarily in judicial debate would only create a further gap in the brotherhood between Mali and Côte d'Ivoire. This is not what we want. I say it again, Mali is a brotherly country. Ivory Coast has said the soldiers were unfairly detained at Bamako's airport on July 10 after being sent to provide backup for the UN peacekeeping mission in Mali, MINUSMA. I really want to reassure you, to tell you that your children, your husbands, your brothers and sisters have been deployed on a mission that is completely illegal. Mali's military-led government, however, says the soldiers were detained after landing on a special flight without supporting documents and has described them as mercenaries. I admit that since 10 July, we have had no news of him, my son, except for the information that the General Staff has given us, and we are connected to them while knowing that our children are fine, and that's all. Other than that, we have no news of our children. Tensions have risen in recent months between the military junta in Bamako and the country's international partners. Togo has been mediating the dispute, but talks on July 28 in Lomé failed to make progress.
The United States denied Wednesday that its envoy to the United Nations was traveling to Africa to rival Russia and China. Linda Thomas-Greenfield landed in Uganda on Thursday, just days after Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov ended a visit to the East African country. The envoy said her trip, which will also include stops in Ghana and Cape Verde, was going to focus on how Washington can help countries deal with the ongoing food crisis. A week ago, Russia's top diplomat also made visits to Egypt, Ethiopia, Uganda and the Republic of Congo, where he accused the US and European countries of driving up food prices. Thomas Greenfield's trip will be followed immediately by that of her boss, Antony Blinken, to South Africa, Congo and Rwanda from August 7th to 11th. Western countries have scrambled to engage with Africa in light of the war in Ukraine, with some looking for alternative sources of energy, while others have been looking for support for Kiev. In Africa, Western countries have also worked to discredit China, which is the continent's largest bilateral lender.
Thank you, Excellency.
Welcome back. Let's now look at sports news. In sports, Zambia Judo Association General Secretary Mavundo Nguni says Zambia's results at the 2022 Commonwealth Games were disappointing and unexpected. In an interview with Camnet Sports, Nguni notes that despite the intensive training exhibited prior to the Games, Zambia could not earn any medals. The Games saw some judokas such as Rita Fwamba leave the competition in the first round.
Zambia Judo Association carrying out strategic and intensified training sessions for 5 participants that participated in the 2022 Commonwealth Games, amongst them Rita Fwamba, and the association stepping up in preparations for all local and international youth competitions so that the athletes can continue to post positive results. The association general secretary Mavuto Nguni is saddened by the outcome. Speaking to Camnet Sports, Nguni states that the country at large expected the team to bring back medals, but surprisingly, some judokas left the competition just in the first round.
Not as expected. We didn't expect to perform like this. We had quite a good period of preparation. This was the biggest competition that we really expected to win medals, but it's unfortunate that the draws, how it came out, they were in the toughest draws. Despite that, it was a disappointment that the other athletes came out in the first round, like Imango in the 73 kgs and also Rita Fwamba, who came out in the first round in the 57 category. Despite Simon Zulu and Stephen Mwandu being in the fair draw, they tried that they could, of course, and they lost in the finals for bronze, so it was unfortunate.
Meanwhile, Nguni discloses that the next step for the athletes is to focus on All Africa Games 2023, scheduled for Ghana, and Paris 2024 Olympic qualifiers.
Coming to overall performance, of course, it's not as expected. We expected that having won a bronze medal during the 2014 Commonwealth Games, we expected again to carry on with that type of performance as Zambia Judo. We expected at least to win some medals again, but it's a sport. It's the name of the game. Of course, there's a winner, there's a loser. We didn't perform as expected, but we remain focused now. We have the All Africa Games 2023 Ghana. That is our main focus as of now, and also the 2024 Paris Olympic Games qualification.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
Still in sports, the final 20-member Green Buffaloes Women Football Club has left Lusaka for Durban ahead of the 2022 Hollywood Bets COSAPA Women's Champions League that kicks off this Sunday. The Zambian champions are in Group B alongside Olympique de Macaron from Comoros and Young Buffaloes of Eswatini, whom they face in the opening match on Sunday 7th August at 15:30 at the Sugary Zulu Stadium. Charles Haluwono's Glasses will be looking to win the tournament and secure qualifications for the Total Energies Cup Women's Champions League to be held in Morocco. This is the second time they are taking part in the COSAPA Women's Champions League, having reached the semi-finals last year before losing 1-0 to eventual champions Mamelodi Sundown. Well, that item ends our news this evening. The headlines once again. United Party for National Development Alliance Partner Movement for Democratic Change against putting newly recruited civil servants under NAPSA. Census aptitude test spill into day 2. The Drug Enforcement Commission and Transparency International Zambia join arms to fight corruption. In international news, US says top envoy's Africa trip not meant to catch up with rivals. And in sports, Zambia's results at the 2022 Commonwealth Games disappoints Zambia's Judo Association. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day, and it's coming from Jeremiah 33:2, verse 3, and it reads, "This is what the Lord says, He who made the earth, the Lord who formed it and established it. The Lord is His name. Call to me, and I will answer to you, and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know." Well, thank you so much for joining us. Good night.